Ever get sucked into like all the day trading hype online? It's easy to, with, everyone promising the secrets to instant riches
Oh,
and
yeah.
charts that light up like a slot machine when someone's making a killing.
Right.
It's exciting stuff. You can't deny it, but
It is.
let's be real, behind all that flash and sizzle, there's a ton of smoke and mirrors. And let's be honest, most people just end up losing their shirts. Right.
Right.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the psychology behind those tempting trading traps and, more importantly, how to, not fall for them.
Yeah, because you've hit the nail on the head. The idea of getting rich quick, it's super powerful, and it makes sense that new traders especially, they often have these like totally unrealistic expectations about what trading's all about.
Totally. And speaking of unrealistic expectations, that brings us to the source material for this deep dive. A YouTube video called 2022 ICT Mentorship, episode 24, by this, well, pretty popular trading mentor. And look, we're not saying we endorse his strategies or anything, but what's interesting is how much he focuses on, like, the mental game of trading.
Absolutely. Like right off the bat, he goes on this rant almost about how some of his followers, they blame him when they lose money.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like he's trying to shake them out of it, like wake up, this is on you. He even calls out people who are just looking for those secret signals in his analysis.
Yeah, it's like that saying, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish.
Right.
But like the trading version, don't blame the fisherman because your bucket's empty.
Right. Exactly. He makes it super clear. Personal responsibility is everything, especially in something like trading where it's so easy to get swept up in your emotions.
Oh, for sure.
You know what else he says?
What?
He actually avoids doing those live trading sessions, where like everyone's following along because it actually creates this dependence, and he doesn't want that responsibility for other people to just follow his every move.
Which is really tempting to want, right? Someone to just tell you what to do, especially when they make it look so easy.
Absolutely.
It's like we're hardwired to want that magic formula, not just in trading, but like in life, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that?
Totally. We want certainty so bad, especially with so much uncertainty all around us.
Right.
We convince ourselves there are shortcuts, that we can beat the system without like actually having to do the hard work. But this trader, he's like, nope, not on my watch.
He really does. He even tells viewers, like straight up, to pause the video.
Wow.
Analyze the charts themselves before he gives his take.
Really?
Yeah, he literally says, it's not Netflix and chill, it's trader name and study your ass off. He is all about self-reliance from the very beginning.
Which honestly is refreshing to hear, right?
Clearly.
It's like he's saying, don't just blindly follow me, figure it out for yourself. And that goes way beyond trading. That's just approaching any skill with discipline, taking control of your learning,
Absolutely. Okay, so he eventually does get into his own trading strategies, specifically these things he calls fair value gaps and relative equal highs. Ring in any bills?
Okay, so fair value gaps. Think of it this way.
Okay.
It's like when you get these price discrepancies in the market. Imagine like a stock jumps way higher overnight.
Right.
That gap between where it closed and where it opens, boom, fair value gap. The market, because it loves its routines, will often try to even that out.
So it's like the market's trying to regain its balance or something.
Exactly. And as for those relative equal highs, picture them as like recent price points that are kind of acting like a ceiling,
Okay.
The price bumps up against it but can't seem to break through. He uses those as potential like resistance points,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how he breaks all this down. But before we get too deep in the weeds here, big, huge disclaimer, everyone. This is just us explaining what we found.
100%.
We are not financial advisors.
Yeah.
And this is absolutely not financial advice.
Your portfolio, your adventure, we're just here to, give you the right mindset, not tell you which way to go.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to these strategies. He's very clear that these aren't just like random patterns he's seeing, right?
Right.
He talks a lot about back testing, which is basically looking at past data to see if these patterns actually like meant anything.
And that's where it gets a little tricky, you know, because backtesting, it can make you feel more in control than you really are.
Oh, how so? Yeah.
Because you see how a strategy might have worked out before, so you just assume, oh, this guarantees I'll make bank in the future. And the market, the market doesn't play by those rules.
It's like saying, well, I aced all the practice tests, so I'm definitely going to ace the real thing.
Right.
It doesn't work that way most of the time in trading or life, right?
Not even close. And to his credit, this trader He owns that. He's upfront about it.
And that leads us to this moment in the video where, like, he's setting up this whole trade, right? He's walking through his analysis, what he's thinking. You're starting to see where he's coming from. And then the market it totally throws him for a loop. Like, you can practically hear it in his voice, the surprise.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I don't know, a little bit of, like, frustration, too. Like, he doesn't try to hide it or edit it out or anything. It's a real human moment that I think anyone who's traded, like, probably relates to.
Totally, because it just shows you, like, the market, it doesn't care about your analysis.
Right.
You can backtest all day long, have the fanciest charts, whatever, but at the end of the day, the market's going to do what it wants.
Totally. And this is where the real lessons are, I think. It's not about, finding the perfect strategy, like the holy grail of trading or whatever. It's about mastering your own head, how you react when you win.
Absolutely.
And more importantly, how you react when you lose.
Because, I mean, let's face it, right? Losses, they're going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Even the best traders in the world, they have losing trades.
For sure.
It's how you handle those losses that really separates, the amateurs from the pros. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And this trader, he's big on discipline over impulsivity. Like, don't just jump into every trade, right?
Which is way easier said than done because our brains, they love that instant gratification.
Oh, yeah.
That dopamine hit of a win.
Totally.
But trading's like anything else. The real lasting success, it comes from resisting that urge to just, like, jump at everything.
Definitely. There's this line he has where he's like, every trader is a losing trader that finds success out of loss.
Whoa.
Which sounds kind of deep, I know, but I think what he means is you can't be afraid to lose. You got to, like, bake it into your strategy.
Losses aren't failures. They're like opportunities to learn and get better next time.
Right, exactly. And that's where journaling comes in. He talks about that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Not just, like, tracking your trades, but actually analyzing why you made the decisions you did. Like, what was going through your head?
Were you excited? Were you scared? Like, really break it down. What went right? What went wrong?
Which honestly is good advice for anything, right? Not just trading.
Absolutely. Taking the time to self-reflect, to really think about your mistakes, it's huge, no matter what you're doing.
So true. But he actually takes it a step further. He turns to the camera and he's like, if you don't have self-control, you're going to blow up.
Intense.
Right. He's basically saying you need to know yourself. Like, really know your tendencies, the things you do when you're not thinking straight.
Your weaknesses, right.
Yeah. The things that trip you up and make you make bad calls, especially with money at stake.
Which reminds me, we talk about this a lot, those cognitive biases.
Yeah.
Are there any he specifically mentions in the video?
He does. Two big ones, actually. Confirmation bias and then loss aversion. And those are, like, super common, right? But for anyone who's, never heard of those, could you maybe, like, break it down for us?
Yeah. So confirmation bias, it's that thing where you only see what you want to see, right?
Okay.
We all do it. We look for info that backs up what we already believe, even if maybe deep down we know it's not true.
Right.
In trading, it's like being stuck in a losing trade and telling yourself, no, my analysis was good. This has got to come back.
Ouch. Yeah.
It's hard to admit when you're wrong.
It really is. And I feel like we do that in life all the time, too, not just trading.
Oh, 100%. We gravitate towards the stuff that already makes sense to us, It's human, but with trading, yeah, it can cost you.
Big time. Okay, what about loss aversion? That one sounds kind of scary.
It's basically like the pain of losing, it hits us way harder than the joy of winning the same amount.
Oh, interesting.
So you hold on to a losing trade way past when you should have cut it loose, just because you don't want to take the L.
I feel like I've totally done that.
We all have.
Yeah.
It's that saying, cut your losses short, let your winners run. Sounds simple, but it's not.
So, like, how do you actually fight those biases? Do they sound kind of, like, unavoidable?
He's not big on, like, quick fixes, which I respect.
Right.
But he does give this great line. He says, trading is all about managing losing trades. Like, that's it. You got to trade your way out of a losing trade every single time you get into the market.
Wow.
It's a good reminder, losses, they're going to happen, and it's what you do with them that counts.
It's funny. He keeps coming back to this idea of bitter medicine when he's talking about, taking a loss.
Right.
And it got me thinking, like, we avoid bitter medicine in all parts of life, don't we?
All the time. Those tough conversations you're putting off, the red flags you're ignoring.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking to the same routine, even when it's not working anymore.
It's comfortable.
Exactly. Because facing those things, those hard truths, admitting maybe we were wrong, it sucks, it's painful.
Way easier to just, like, Scroll past that stuff, right?
The best traders, though, the ones who really get it, they embrace that bitter medicine. They see it as part of the process.
So it's less about avoiding the pain, more about, like, actually learning from it.
100%. And that, I think, is a really powerful takeaway from this whole deep dive.
Hmm.
Whether you trade or not, it all starts with understanding yourself, like really looking at those biases we all have.
Challenging yourself.
Absolutely. And seeing those bitter medicine moments as like opportunities for growth.
So as we wrap up here, something to think about.
Okay.
Inspired by this trader, what bitter medicine are you avoiding in your own life? And what could you learn? How could you grow if you actually faced it head on?
Yeah.
That's something to chew on.